We're back here at ClearPath Retirement Radio. I am Stewart Smith here as always with Mitch Davies. I want to just throw it over to Mitch for a few minutes here for our favorite segment of the show, and that is Mitch's Market Minute.
Thank you, Stewart. Yeah, I'm excited as always. Like Stewart said, we'll switch gears for just a minute here and just talk about what's been going on. This is a great time to talk about this because there's been a lot happening in the markets, and we've seen a crazy couple weeks play out, and this is something we've been talking about for 2-3 months now, is almost expecting this exact scenario. We did a segment a few weeks ago talking about the history of these types of events, right? And what happens almost every time. What happens almost every single time we have some kind of geopolitical tension is that we see a sharp dip and a sharp recovery. And today, the market is almost at all-time highs again, and we've seen 5 days in a row of extreme green days. And this is so important to have a team, whether you're retired, getting ready to retire, who understands this stuff and is able to talk you through this. Because we had so many clients, we do a lot of client outreach. We do, especially during times like this. This is the time where you hear from us the most, is times like this where the markets are super volatile. We were talking to so many different people about, hey, look, here's the history of what happens in these things. This isn't the first time we've seen this. So what generally happens is we have a 4 or 5 week stretch of red days where we're slowly coming down. S&P was about 10% down from the all-time high, and just in a span of 5 days, we're back to that. The S&P hit over $7,000 today. So what we see is that sharp recovery, and it's so important to understand the way the markets react in these things. We have 120 years now of market history to study and to understand that there's been geopolitical tensions before. There's been wars, world wars before. There's been pandemics before. There's been everything that could happen we've seen before, right? So there's nothing new here. So what we're seeing today is what we've been expecting. The S&P almost at all-time highs, NASDAQ almost at all-time highs. Oil is starting to drop. Oil, we've talked about this, has been the driver behind this. We've seen the Strait of Hormuz, which is just south of Iran. They have control over it essentially, and they blocked that off. And we've seen oil not be able to flow through there. And this strait controls 20% of the world's oil supply. The U.S. doesn't use much of it, but everybody else does. So that affects the overall oil price, right? And we've seen we're starting to see some de-escalation talks. We're starting to see that the strait is partially open and they're going to toll it. We're starting to see these different reports, but the second these start to come through, the market just flies up because the market's ready. When we have volatility like this and we see a huge green day just because of one report, that means the market's ready to go. The market's ready to run. It just needs a little bit of fuel, right? And oil coming down and the volatility index coming down and the market's pushing all-time highs is that fuel. It's ready to run. So the most important thing you can do in retirement, whether you're doing this yourself or you're working with somebody, is make sure you have a team that understands the market history and psychology behind this. Because what we do differently we're only working with retirees. What we do is we have our clients allocated ahead of time not to suffer huge drawdowns, because it's hard. When you're in retirement and this is all the money you've got and you've got to invest it and you're fully exposed to the market and you see that 10-15% red in your account, even if you understand, even if you have us saying, hey, look, it's gonna come back. That's what everyone says, right? But it's hard to see that, and it's hard to sit there through that. And that's when you make bad decisions. That's when you sell. But what we do is allocate in a whole different way, where we have a large portion protected or semi-protected, where they're only down 3 or 4% instead of 15. And they're able to sleep and understand so much better that no matter what's going on in this time, we understand the history. I've got a team behind me that's able to work me through this, and I'm not even down the full 15%. So the most important takeaway here, guys, is that any event that's happened has already happened in some form of the way, as far as the market's concerned. Whether it's, tension in the Middle East, we've seen that how many times over the last 50 years, right? We've been dealing with that for 40 years. So we've seen these types of things, and we have history. We have so much data to understand what happens, and the market's right on the edge there. So if you've been stressed the last 6 weeks, what I'll challenge you, if you've been stressed the last 6 weeks and you don't have a direction, you don't have a guidance, you don't have anything like this, and you're in retirement especially, if you're just beginning investing and you're contributing, maybe it's not as much a big deal. But if you're in retirement and this is the money that you've got to live on, and you've been stressed these last 6 weeks dealing with the uncertainty and the scary news headlines and all this, give us a call. Just come in and talk to us. Let us sit down, understand where you're at, understand where you're trying to go, and see if there's a way we can help you. See if there's a way we can, help you through that and coach you through this process, because it's hard alone, especially in retirement. And this is what we do every single day for people. So take a look at that for me.
Great segment, Mitch. We really help folks smooth out that ride. When it gets extremely volatile like this, we see people that they get really nervous, they get panicky, and they start wanting to. And what we're able to do is give them a call, talk to them directly, let them know, what our thoughts are, calm them down, make sure that we are reallocating as we need to, make sure we're reacting correctly to what the markets are doing. And a lot of times that means staying put. And we understand that, and a lot of times that can pay huge dividends by not making any drastic changes. Like Mitch said, if it's too volatile for you, it's got you anxiety-ridden and not sleeping at night, give us a call. Let us smooth that ride out for you. Let us get you to a better place, and we would certainly appreciate the opportunity to do that.